Hi guys, we are going to move on from perimeter and area and talk about another unit of measurement. So we are actually going to talk about the customary system, which is what we use in the United States to tell about the weight of things. So we're going to go over this together, but when we get done, you might want to go and kind of try to find these objects in your house so that you can feel them and see what they feel like, how much they weigh, so you can better understand the difference. If we were in the classroom, I probably would have brought all of these objects in and shown you, and I would have let you hold them and feel the difference of the things that you could touch. We're also going to talk about the metric system. The metric system is used everywhere else in the world. The United States is the only place that uses the customary system. So we are a little bit different than everybody else. So if you look here, this is the graphic organizer. You should have it in your group of papers. This is one of your anchor charts or your graphic organizers. We are skipping quite a few lessons, so if there are some pages that you haven't done, feel free to do those, but just know that you don't have to. We're kind of skipping around on some things and trying to get in the most important things. So hopefully you have your anchor chart. If you don't, pause the video now and go and look for it. All right, so at the top it says weight equals how heavy an object is. Go ahead and fill in the missing word, heavy. And let's talk about one of the smallest units of weight, ounces. So ounces are small, okay? There are 16 ounces in a pound. So if I'm trying to think, well, what would weigh an ounce? It would be a strawberry. So think about just your average strawberry. That would weigh about an ounce. So sometimes, like when a baby is born, people will ask how much does the baby weigh, and people will say how many pounds and how many ounces. So pretty soon we'll find out how many pounds Olivia weighs and how many ounces when she's born. All right, draw a picture of a strawberry so that you can kind of think 1 ounce is equal to 1 strawberry. And then here are some other examples of things that might weigh an ounce: a cracker, a mouse, a small mouse, popcorn, egg, pencil, a muffin, a small muffin, and a cell phone. Depending on the cell phone. Some cell phones would be heavier than that, and some muffins would be heavier than that. Probably a bite-sized muffin. All right, let's move on to pounds. So like I already said, there are 16 ounces in a pound. A pound is about as heavy as a pineapple. So think about if you've ever felt a pineapple or picked one up. They're somewhat heavy. A cantaloupe would also be a good example. So if you haven't had a pineapple before, maybe you've had cantaloupe or honeydew before. So go ahead and fill that in and draw a picture of a pineapple or a cantaloupe. And feel free to pause this video whenever you need to. Some other examples of things that might weigh a pound: a puppy, a very small puppy, a doghouse, a box of cereal, a table. We measure people in pounds, not like a person weighs a pound, but it's saying we measure people in pounds. A violin would be measured using pounds, a chair, a cat, a bicycle. Okay, so those are different things that we would use a pound to measure. They don't necessarily weigh 1 pound, but we would use pounds to measure those things. And then above, same thing with ounces. A small muffin might weigh an ounce, but a bigger muffin probably isn't going to weigh a pound, but it's going to weigh maybe 6 ounces. All right, and the biggest customary unit that we're going to talk about is a ton. Okay, so 1 ton equals 2,000 pounds. So a lot of things are going to be measured using pounds, like you guys are going to be measured using pounds, as well as a grown adult. There's a pretty big difference between how much a kid weighs and how much an adult weighs, but we still use pounds. We don't go up to a ton until we've reached the 2,000 pound mark. So about as heavy as a small car. So go ahead and draw a picture of a small car. Probably not a big souped up truck. That is probably going to weigh more than a ton. Okay, and then some examples of things that would weigh in the tons would be a truck, a rhinoceros, an elephant. Obviously an elephant's probably going to weigh a couple of tons. A grand piano, a bear, a shark. So some of these might weigh just at a ton. Some of them might weigh 2 tons. It just kind of depends what it is. So go ahead and think of some examples. You could even Google some things if your parent is okay with that, and look up some things that weigh a ton and a pound and an ounce, so you can use some other things. You don't have to use the things that I have listed. All right, now we're going to move on to the metric system. The metric system talks about mass, which is how much matter or how much space it takes up. So there's the smallest unit that other countries use, and we still use them in the United States. We just use the customary system more, is a milligram. A milligram is about as heavy as a grain of salt or a piece of sand. So think about how tiny that would be. That's a milligram. So go ahead and draw a picture. And then some examples would be a grain of sand, a grain of dirt. Think about itty bitty little tiny piece. All right. There are 1,000 milligrams in 1 gram, and a gram does not weigh very much at all. So this number is 1,000. I know it's kind of hard to tell. And a gram is about as heavy as a paper clip. So think about the paper clips that we have on our papers. That's a gram. It is not very big. So think about how many little tiny pieces of salt it takes to weigh as much as a paper clip. 1,000. And then go ahead and draw a picture of a paper clip. And some things that we would measure using grams, the mass of them would be like mittens, a football, a penny, a crayon, a feather, a mouse, and a banana. These things would weigh a certain amount of grams, not necessarily 1 gram, but we would use grams to measure these things. Because the next unit is a kilogram, and a kilogram is significantly more than a gram. It actually takes 1,000 grams to equal 1 kilogram. Okay, so it's about as heavy as 6 apples. 6 apples. Or think about like 1,000 paper clips. If you had 1,000 paper clips in your hand, that would be a kilogram. That'd be a lot of paper clips. Your hands would probably get pretty heavy pretty fast. So think about carrying 6 apples. Go ahead and draw a picture of your 6 apples, because you probably can't draw 1,000 grams of paper clips. And just look like a bunch of scribbles, which probably wouldn't be very helpful. Some things that we would measure using kilograms: books, heavier books, let's see, like a textbook. This is probably going to weigh a couple kilograms because it's thicker. Your TV, a bag of oranges, your desk, a horse, a kitten, a microwave. Okay, those things are going to weigh kilograms, or the mass, I should say, not weigh. The mass of them would be kilograms. All right, that is it for today's math lesson. All you need to do is your anchor charts. You can put these in your math journal or just keep track of them. And then tomorrow, you guys are going to do this worksheet. It's identifying units of weight and mass. So you're going to think, if I have a bicycle, I'm trying to determine which would be the best estimate for each object. So if I have a bicycle, would it be 40 pounds or 40 ounces? So I might go back to the anchor chart and think, well, ounces is smaller than pounds. 40 ounces would be like 40 strawberries, and 40 pounds would be like 40 pineapples. So what would make more sense if I'm trying to compare it to a bicycle? Okay, so think through each of these. Okay. And then you're going to do metric units down here. All right, so that is for tomorrow. All right, I hope you guys have a good day. I miss you. Have a good one. Bye.